Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about something that every English learner struggles with at some point, those long, awkward pauses when you speak. You start talking, your mind suddenly goes blank, and you stop. You try to remember the next word, your confidence drops, and the listener is waiting. You know what you want to say, but the words just don't come out smoothly. If that happens to you, don't worry. You are not alone. Speaking without pausing is a skill, and like every skill, it can be trained. Today I'll show you how to make your speech flow naturally, confidently, and without hesitation. When you speak your native language, words come effortlessly. You don't have to think about grammar or sentence structure. You just speak. But when it comes to English, your brain works harder. It's translating, checking grammar, thinking of vocabulary, and trying to sound natural all at once. This overload causes pauses. The key to speaking fluently without pausing is to train your brain to think and speak in English automatically. That's the first mindset shift you need. Stop thinking of English as something you perform. Start thinking of it as something you live. Let's be honest, everybody pauses sometimes, even native speakers. But the difference is that native speakers use natural fillers, rhythm, and flow to make their pauses invisible. They don't stop awkwardly. They simply give their brain a moment to catch up while keeping the conversation alive. You can learn to do the same. The first step is to become comfortable with imperfection. The fear of making mistakes is what creates those long silences. You try so hard to be perfect that your brain freezes. Instead, allow yourself to speak freely, even if your grammar isn't perfect. Fluency comes before accuracy. Once you remove the pressure of perfection, your speech will naturally flow better. Another important thing to understand is that speaking without pausing starts before you open your mouth. It begins with preparation. The more familiar you are with the topic, the easier it is to talk about it smoothly. If you often find yourself pausing, it might not be because your English is weak, but because you haven't built enough thoughts around that subject in English. To fix that, think in English about common topics, your daily routine, your job, your hobbies, your opinions, your dreams. When you already have ready-made ideas and phrases in your mind, speaking becomes automatic. You can also train your mouth and tongue to move easily in English. English pronunciation has sounds and patterns that might not exist in your native language. Practicing tongue twisters and shadowing exercises helps a lot. Shadowing means listening to a short clip of a native speaker and repeating it immediately, trying to match their rhythm, tone, and speed. It forces your mouth to stay active, and your brain to keep up with natural English pace. If you do this daily, even for 10 minutes, you'll notice that your words begin to flow more easily and your hesitation decreases. Another powerful technique is called chunking. Chunking means learning and using short groups of words together instead of thinking word by word. For example, instead of thinking about how to build a sentence like "I don't know what to say," learn to use the whole phrase as one piece. I don't know what to say. When your brain stores language in chunks, it doesn't have to pause to build every sentence. You simply recall and use ready-made phrases. This is exactly how native speakers think. They don't create sentences from grammar rules each time, they use patterns they've heard thousands of times. Start collecting these useful chunks from podcasts, movies, and conversations. Repeat them often until they feel natural. Vocabulary is another reason why people pause. You may know the word you want but can't recall it in the moment. This happens because your passive vocabulary is much larger than your active one. The words you recognize when reading or listening are passive. The words you can instantly use when speaking are active. To reduce pauses, you must convert passive vocabulary into active vocabulary. The way to do that is through speaking and repetition. Whenever you learn a new word, use it in your daily speech. Make your own example sentences. Talk to yourself using it. The more you use a word, the faster your brain retrieves it when you need it. Listening plays a big role too. When you listen actively to natural English conversations, your brain learns rhythm, timing, and sentence flow. It helps you develop what we call speech melody, the natural ups and downs of voice that make speech sound alive. Once you understand this rhythm, your brain automatically follows it while speaking, and you pause less. Listen to English content daily, not just to understand meaning, but to absorb how speakers connect ideas smoothly. Notice how they pause only for breathing or emphasis, not for searching words. Try to imitate that flow. Confidence is another key. Most pauses come not from lack of knowledge, but from fear. You're afraid of judgment, afraid of making a mistake, afraid of sounding silly. But remember, the person listening to you wants to understand you, not judge you. When you focus on delivering your message rather than impressing someone, your brain relaxes. When you relax, your words flow. So the next time you speak, shift your focus. Don't think, "What if I make a mistake?" Instead think, "What message do I want to share?" This mindset change alone can eliminate many pauses. Breathing control is also part of fluent speaking. Many learners speak quickly because they're nervous, and then they run out of breath, which causes sudden pauses. Learn to breathe calmly and speak at a natural pace. Before speaking, take a slow breath and begin your sentence smoothly. If you speak too fast, your mind can't keep up. But if you speak too slow, it sounds unnatural. Find your natural rhythm. The best pace is the one where you have time to think while still keeping the listener engaged. Fluency is not speed. It's smoothness. Another exercise that helps is storytelling. Choose a simple topic from your life, maybe your favorite memory, your weekend, or a movie you watched, and tell that story in English. Record yourself. When you listen back, you'll notice where you paused or struggled. Those are your weak spots. Practice those parts again until they become smooth. Then record again. You'll see improvement each time. This kind of active practice trains your speaking muscles and reduces hesitation in real conversations. Also, practice paraphrasing. When you can't remember a word, instead of stopping, describe it in another way. For example, if you forget the word refrigerator, say the thing we use to keep food cold. Native speakers do this all the time. It keeps the conversation going and hides the fact that you forgot a word. The ability to explain things in different ways makes you a flexible and confident speaker. It also keeps your brain active and creative in English. Thinking in English is another essential habit. If you always think in your native language first and then translate, you'll always pause. Train yourself to describe thoughts directly in English. You can start with small things: what you see, what you feel, what you're doing. The more you do it, the faster your brain processes English. Eventually, you'll reach the point where sentences form automatically in your mind, and pauses disappear naturally. Thinking in English is the foundation of real fluency. It also helps to use fillers instead of silence when you need a moment to think. Phrases like well, you know, actually, let me think, or that's a good question buy you time without breaking the flow. They sound natural and keep the listener engaged. Native speakers use them all the time, so you should too. Practice using these fillers until they become a habit. That way, when your brain needs a second to organize thoughts, your mouth doesn't go silent. Another habit that improves fluency is reading aloud. When you read a text out loud, your mouth practices forming English sounds and your brain practices processing language in real time. It's like speaking, but easier because you already have the words in front of you. Choose short paragraphs and read them with emotion, rhythm, and clarity. Focus on smooth delivery rather than speed. With regular practice, your tongue and brain become synchronized, and speaking without pauses becomes more natural. It's also important to build automatic grammar. If you're constantly thinking about grammar rules while speaking, you'll pause. The best way to internalize grammar is through listening and reading, not memorizing. Exposure teaches your brain what sounds right. When you hear correct sentences repeatedly, your brain stores them as patterns. Later, when you speak, those patterns come out automatically. You don't have to think about rules. You just feel what's right. That's the point where real fluency begins. Remember, your brain is like a muscle. The more you use it in English, the faster it becomes. At first, you'll struggle, you'll hesitate, you'll pause. That's normal. Every fluent speaker has gone through that stage. The only difference is that they kept speaking. They practiced daily, even when it felt awkward. Consistency is the secret. Even 10 minutes of speaking practice every day is more powerful than one long session once a week. It keeps your brain active and your mouth flexible. Motivation also matters. When you speak about topics that truly interest you, your brain works faster. Choose subjects you love: sports, music, travel, personal growth, and talk about them. You'll find that you pause less when you're passionate, because your mind is full of ideas and emotions. Passion fuels fluency. Another thing that helps is interaction. Speaking alone is useful, but real conversations train your brain to respond instantly. Talk to friends, join English clubs, use language exchange apps, or participate in online discussions. The more real interactions you have, the better your brain becomes at thinking quickly under pressure. Each conversation is a mini workout for your fluency muscles. Finally, be patient with yourself. Speaking without pausing doesn't happen in 1 week or 1 month. It's a gradual transformation. You'll notice small improvements: shorter pauses, faster recall, smoother rhythm. Celebrate those wins. Don't compare yourself to native speakers or advanced learners. Compare yourself to the person you were yesterday. Every word you speak without pausing is progress. Fluency is not about knowing every word or speaking fast. It's about connection. It's about expressing your ideas confidently and keeping the flow alive. The more you speak, the more you learn to trust yourself. Your brain begins to relax, your sentences flow, and English becomes your second nature. So don't wait for the perfect time. Start today. Talk to yourself, record your voice, tell stories, think in English, listen actively, and never stop practicing. With time and consistency, you'll reach that moment when you speak smoothly, confidently, and without those awkward pauses. And that will be the moment you realize, you're not just learning English anymore, you're living it.